Hello. Hello, yes.
Hello.
We are back with the next instalment of The Ice Monster. I think it's part 8. I think so. Whatever it is chapter 22, The Beauty of the Scheme.
The beauty of
Can you remember what happened last time?
Didn't they just need 1,000 silk handkerchiefs and Dottie needed a metal. She said she could get a metal helmet from Teacher, who's her boyfriend.
Yeah, and who's going to go up in the hot air balloon?
Dottie.
Dottie, that's right. So that was the last little cliffhanger that the now Welsh mad professor is going to send Dottie up. Me? Exclaimed Dottie. Yes, you, replied the professor. But I'm scared of heights. I even feel wobbly standing on a chair to dust the ceiling. Listen to me, woman, commanded the professor. What better honour could there be in life to die in the name of science? Die? That would be the worst case scenario. I'm too young to die. The professor peered over his half-moon spectacles and examined the lady. I beg to differ. How dare you? I will go up in the balloon, offered Elsie. No, 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 began the man. How on earth will we get this great fat lump down the chimney? Charming, exclaimed Dottie. Now I'm old and fat. Don't fret, woman. There is little chance of you falling out and plunging to your death. I can strap you into the basket. That's reassuring, replied the lady. Obviously, the real danger is being hit by lightning. What? Don't worry. It's a very quick and painless death. You will be incinerated in a millisecond. You would barely know what hit you. That's the beauty of the scheme. You're nuts. Thank you, replied the professor. What about Clout? Asked Elsie. Yes, mused the man. The security guard can be very troublesome. We need to somehow make sure he's otherwise engaged. I don't think he's engaged. Or married, said Dottie. It's a figure of speech, exclaimed the professor. Perhaps we could lock him in the cleaning cupboard, suggested the girl. That would be perfect, he replied. Are you all right?
I'm just getting lost.
All right. That would be perfect, he replied. Sorry.
Oh, Muzzy.
How are we going to get out of here without being seen? Asked Elsie. The whole museum is swarming with police and guards right now. You can climb out of the coal chute, just here. The man wheeled himself over to the wall and revealed a small opening hidden by a box. Dottie examined the hole. What about me? She asked. You can try and squeeze yourself up the chute, and then I can poke you through by prodding your ample bottom up with this broomstick. That's very kind of you, replied Dottie sarcastically, but they ain't looking for me, just the girl. I think I'll wait a while, and then when the coast is clear to go out, I'll wait a while until the coast is clear to go out, and I'll just go up the stairs. Yes, but don't wait too long, please, replied the professor. I don't want you cluttering up the place. Well, excuse me. Elsie. Yes, Professor? I want you back here this time tomorrow night with 1,000 silk handkerchiefs. Tomorrow night? Yes, child. No later than 9 o'clock tomorrow night. And look here, the air pressure is getting lower. The man pointed to the barometer on the wall. We need to be ready for a lightning storm by the end of the week. I'll do my best, Professor, said the girl as she shimmied up the chute. The professor stared at Dottie for a while. Are you still here? He asked. Meanwhile, Elsie ran away from the museum as fast as she could. Her mind raced along with her legs. How on earth was she going to steal 1,000 handkerchiefs in just 24 hours? Chapter 23, The Sticky Fingers Gang. Elsie knew there was no way she could do this all on her own. She decided to get some help, expert help. There was a legendary group of Tearaways who were the best pickpockets in the whole of London, if only she could find them. They were named the Sticky Fingers Gang. They were so called because their sticky little fingers would worm their way into the coat pockets of every rich lady and gentleman in London, and then worm their way out with things stuck to them. Sometimes it would be nothing more than half a sucked sweet, a snotty rag, or worst of all, a set of false teeth. However, at other times their fingers would stick themselves to precious things like pocket watches, gold coins, silver-rimmed spectacles, jewels, and, of course, silk handkerchiefs. The members of the Sticky Fingers gang were Joseph, or Big Joe, the self-appointed leader. He could pick pockets in his sleep. Zoe, the real leader. She had been thieving since before she could walk. She was known to readers of the Times, who wrote often about her crimes as the baby-faced baddie. Nellie was better known as Smelly Nellie, as she used her bottom burps to distract her victims. Bella, or Litlin, was the shortest of the gang. She could barely reach the pockets of the rich ladies and gentlemen of London, and so carried a stool around with her to help. Lottie was the baddest of the lot. Pickpocketing was just one of her many crimes. She was wanted by police forces all over England for duffing up a strong man and doing a cheesy burp in the face of a nun and force-feeding cheese to a nun. Grace, or Dangerous Grace, was the toughest member of the gang. Nobody crossed Grace unless they wanted a wedgie, a Chinese burn, or a knuckle sandwich. George, or Guiltless George, looked innocent, but he was anything but. George disguised himself as a choir boy, which meant he could get away with absolute murder. Light-fingered Freya could steal for England. One day at a fairground, she stole 318 silk handkerchiefs, a barrel of sugar plums, and a carousel.
What's a carousel?
A carousel is a merry-go-round.
Really?
Yeah. With the horses on. Yeah. Anyway, so that was Light-fingered Freya. Asia and Athena were sisters and partners in crime. When they weren't warring with each other, they oversaw a criminal empire that included gambling, extortion, and bare-knuckle boxing. They were known as the Sisters of No Mercy. Two more sisters rounded off the gang, Sanaya and Rihanna, the gruesome twosome. The pair worked as a team. Sanaya would pose as a sweet flower seller, and her little sister Rihanna came round the back and robbed you blind. The Sticky Fingers gang were legendary figures on the streets of London. Rumours of their exploits swirled across the city, but nobody had a clue where to find them, except Elsie. Chapter 24. Should we go for 3 chapters?
Yeah, let's definitely go for.
Go on then. Chapter 24. Handprints. Elsie had noticed that all over London there were small red handprints on walls and buildings. Once, in the dead of night, she had seen Dangerous Grace put one on the side of St. Paul's Cathedral. Elsie was sure it was some kind of secret sign, some way that the gang communicated with one another. So Elsie had followed Grace as she added more red handprints to the door of 10 Downing Street and even Westminster Abbey. The handprints looked like arrows pointing somewhere. So the night the professor sent Elsie out on her mission, she followed the trail all the way to the Houses of Parliament. The last one she found was up on the clock tower of Big Ben. It pointed upwards. Surely this couldn't mean that the Sticky Fingers gang's secret hideout was up there. There was only one way to find out. Elsie forced open a tiny door at the base and climbed up the staircase to the top of the tower. "Hello," called out Elsie as she stepped into the room, the huge clock face looming behind her like a big full moon. "Bong!" bonged Big Ben. Is there anybody there? Asked Elsie. The girl could swear she heard scuttling. Maybe it was a rat. Maybe it wasn't. Hello? I'm looking for the Sticky Fingers. Before she could utter the word gang, a cloth bag was thrown over her head. Help! She screamed. Bong! Shut your face! Hissed an unseen voice. Elsie was hurled into a corner and she took the bag off her head. Bong! A number of children appeared from the shadows. What the stink are you doing here? Demanded Big Joe. Bong! Zoe pushed him aside. What are you doing here, little Mike? If you want to join our gang, you better think again. Bong! The two sisters, Sanaya and Rihanna, pulled Elsie to her feet and then began playing catch with her as though she was a ball. Think you're tough enough, do ya? Said the eldest one. You couldn't punch your way out of a paper bag. Bong! Suddenly a shove came from behind. Elsie turned round. It was Grace. The girl yanked Elsie's ear. Ow! Cry, baby, snorted Grace. Bong! George, dressed in his choir boy disguise, stepped forward, wielding a hymn book. Bonk! He bashed it down on the girl's head. Ow! Oops, he chuckled. I dropped me hymn book. Bong! Now it was Bella's turn. The little girl marched forward and plonked her stool down in front of Elsie. She climbed on it and then poked Elsie in the eye. Plonk! Ah! Bong! You ain't seen nothing, right? Or if you like, I can do the other eye. No, please. Bong! Then Asia and Athena took their turn using the girl as a punch bag. She's about as tough as a plate of jelly. She will be jelly when we've finished with her. Bong! Finally, Nellie stepped forward. She wore heavy boots far too big for her and stamped on the little girl's toes. Donk! Ah! Bong! Not so tough, are you, now? Sneered Nellie. Why don't you go running back to Mummy? Elsie took a deep breath and gathered her thoughts. Because like you, I ain't got no mummy, and please, I need your help. I need you to help someone, or rather, something, who doesn't have one either. Something? Asked Zoe. The Sticky Fingers gang all leaned forward. Elsie grinned from ear to ear. She had them hooked. Right. See you next part. Time for the next part. Bye. Have a nice evening. Bye.